Yes. So for right now, we're gonna be starting out our written questions segment, where we already have some pre-written questions, and we're going to be going ahead and asking those to our lovely guest. Um, and we'll have Phony.
Yes,
Um,
I am lovely.
we'll have Phony in the chat taking questions for chat submitted questions. I messed up that sentence. Anyhow, uh, we'll be taking questions. Well, Phony will be taking questions from you guys that we'll be asking later, if they're nice and happy. But
Yes, we will be screening your questions. Don't feel bad. Just try to make them good.
exactly. So let's start out very simply. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you, and what do you do?
Okay, hello, I'm ROBcakeran53, as you've already announced. Basically, I am one of the many fanfic authors in the community, though I don't have much to show for myself other than that one fic that everyone may or may not have heard of, that am my Little Dashie. Pretty much, that's what I do. Really, I don't really do music. I don't do art. I guess I don't know. What do you want me to explain? What I do in real life stuff, or just community stuff? Or
If you want, that's okay.
okay, I'm one of those oddballs. I'm a pack rat junk collector. I try not to be. I'm going to school for automotive, which everyone always laughs at because I write fanfics, and yeah, I'm going to automotive. They're usually like, Rob, so you going to school for writing and stuff? Like haha, no. Always makes some kind of double take.
That is pretty interesting,
Rightfully so.
actually.
I'm just one of those oddballs. I started writing some time ago, so I don't know. I actually have been writing for a long time, but I have a feeling it's gonna be one of your questions, so I don't want to get into that much.
Yeah, we'll go into that a little bit later. But for now, how did you become a fan of My Little Pony? What made you become a brony, as we speak?
It happened within the span of like several hours. It was back last year, May. I was on Steam, and a friend of mine started spamming me links of comics and pony reaction pictures. I'm like, what is this crap? Why are you sending me pony stuff? So what does he do? He links me to 3 episodes, and I watch them. I'm like, what did I just watch? So then I sit down that night and watch the entire show, season 1, because that's when it just finished. I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. And I was a brony then, but I didn't know it, because a couple days later I discovered Equestria Daily, and then I was lost.
Yeah, once you get in over your head, you might not realize it when it happens, but it's already too late.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, I still appreciate the show for what it is. The fandom just made it even better.
I certainly agree with that. I think most of us stick around for the bronies, especially here during the off season.
Yeah. I saw I saw a post, a picture recently where it was like the dad from Fairly Odd Parents, where he was pointing at this TV, and it was just like, this is where I would watch the new episode of My Little Pony, if there was one.
I love that
joke.
meme.
I thought that was pretty classy. So on to our next question. Do you have a favorite pony?
Yes, I do. My favorite is actually Macintosh. Big Mac is my favorite.
That's a
Yeah,
story.
the non-main
You don't hear Big Mac very often.
Yeah,
Care
I'm a
to,
Big Mac. He's my fave. He's just awesome. All the E-ups and E-nopes. And the Schmoopy Boo!
I'm pretty sure after the show, everyone found themselves saying "e up" in everyday conversation.
Oh,
Yep.
all the time. Yep.
Actually, to go off of that, what was your reaction with with Big Mac when he really went off at who was that in that episode?
The CMC when he flipped the script.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I felt McIntosh was in his rights for what he said.
Absolutely. And it stung all that much worse coming from Big McIntosh, knowing that AJ had just given the CMC the cold shoulder.
Oh, yeah. And that's something I'm hoping for, is they got to do a brother-sister bonding episode, and I want it to be between McIntosh and Applebloom.
Yeah, I think that's
something that needs to happen.
That'd certainly be very interesting.
It probably will if the show continues on. But first things first, among the CMC, we need a Scootaloo episode.
Yeah, Scootaloo needs your episode too. That's another big one. Scootaloo needs your episode.
But of course.
So speaking of episodes, what's your favorite? I mean, besides the Canterlot Wedding, we already know it's awesome. But if you want to talk about it, that's okay too.
Oh, well, Canterlot Guard, the Canterlot one was great. But everyone gives me a really weird response when I say this. But my favorite episode is episode 10, season 1, The Swarm of the Century.
The Parasprite one?
The Parasprite one. And I have a reason for that. Because that episode, to me, has... Because I like all the season 1 episodes, or the season 1 episodes more than the season 2 episodes. Because they felt a little more... Not... Like, I'm trying to think of the right word, but they just felt better to me. Not the... Sure, the quality and everything in season 2 was better, and they did more things that were comical, but I just like how the first season episodes went about things, and I absolutely loved how all the ponies were having these breakdowns with Pinkie Pie's randomness and such. I just absolutely love it. It's one of the episodes I always laugh at when I watch.
You're full of interesting answers. Tim, I'm sure most of us would just say something along the lines of
Luna Eclipsed.
The Luna Eclipsed, or Lesson 0, or Party of One.
I'll tell
Sonic
you what,
Rain Boom.
Actually, one of my favorite episodes is actually the Heartwarming Carol, or whatever whatever the title of that is, just because I love that story in it.
It's a good one too.
That one is underrated in my opinion.
That's gotta be the funniest episode they've got.
And I loved that they featured that in the DVD that Rainbow Dash doesn't have her cutie mark on. On the box, that is.
Yeah.
I just laughed.
I'll tell you what. For a while, battling Sisterhood Social is another one of my favorites. Because Rarity I used to hate Rarity. And when that one happened, I gained respect for her. And that for a while was struggling with my favorite episode. But then, I stuck with Storm of the Century.
Sisterhood of Social was a really good character-building episode for Rarity, and it also really does include some of the very finest Rarity moments. Oh, Sweetie Belle, my one and only sister, what have I done?
The classic Sweetie Belle sliding across the ground.
Yeah.
You see, we are apple pie.
And that song inspired the Tombstone song, if I remember.
Yes.
The Sister Hate.
Sister Hate, and it also inspired Let Your Man Down.
Yes.
Which is one of my very
Speaking of inspiration, what was your original inspiration for the My Little Dashie story?
Well, I guess to start with how it began, because the inspiration kind of just happened, because the fic wasn't really thought out. You see, what happened, I have to explain why, because basically I had been up for 36 straight hours doing work and other stuff in school, because I was still in school at the time, I think. Yes, I was in school. And, I had to think and remember, but, and I was just deadbeat tired, exhausted. I got home, and I sat down and checked my DeviantArt for something. And one of my friends got on Steam. He's like, dude, check out this comic. And he linked me the comic that the story is based on, the one by Opposite Bros. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then I scroll down, and like one of the first comments says, this needs to be made into a fan fiction now. And so I literally said, challenge accepted, and 8 hours wrote it. And then posted it. And that's it. That's really all that happened.
It only took you 8 hours to write that?
Yeah. Because I think I probably passed out several times.
That's actually really impressive.
Yeah.
Because I remember just reading that. The quality of it is really amazing, to be honest. Some of the writing just feels rich. I don't know what to say. It's very emotional, touching story. Something we can all relate to.
Alex, you write good. We'll put it simply.
IR writes good.
And I think a lot of the appeal of this story stems from the fact that we pretty much all want our own Little Dashie. Are there any other characters, ponies, griffins, effete sea serpents you'd care to adopt?
You know, it's gonna sound weird, but no, because all the headaches that would be entailed to do that, I don't think I could be up to that. Trying to hide it and doing this and doing that, trying to raise, like, I don't think the problem would be raising it, but having society trying to accept it and for it to not go through the stuff that it did in My Little Dashie. Because people debate about it constantly, about how it was actually, how they think it was cruel and inhumane for how he kept her locked up all the time and stuff. And they have points, but, you know, we could sit here and debate it for hours. So I personally, no. Now kidding around and playing around, then I'd want an Applejack because that's fun.
Yeah, you should see after we asked that question, the chat just blew up with, I want to adopt a Derpy, I want a Colt Sword, and I want to destroy Canterlot. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't think that's any kind of adoption.
The Derpy one would be good too.
And so, clearly your story has received a very positive reception. Are there any comments or messages that you can recall that really just stuck with you?
Oh man, in the early days of the fic being posted, I got a lot of really emotional, compelling messages. Like, I know a couple people. One guy, one of the ones that always sticks in my head was this guy. He's like, you know, when I was 16, I ran away from home. I haven't talked to my parents in 5 years. My mother, my father, my sister. And he's like, reading this, he sat and thought about it. And he finally went home to apologize. I'm like, holy cow. That was one of the most compelling ones. Another one was a guy wrote his entire story about how basically his sister was killed in a plane crash, and how my fic had helped him, like, come to terms with it. And there are just similar stories like that, and just it's completely overwhelming.
That is awesome.
I'm greatly honored and touched that it has done so much good. People received it so well, and it's helped them through emotional times and such. Because I kind of didn't really have a major goal in it, but if I did have one, it's to show you that the biggest thing is that though life is cruel, it does give you these little things, but eventually all good things do have to come to an end, and you have to just go off your memories and remember and enjoy the times while you have them. That's really the only thing that was definitive of the story. Everything else just kind of happened.
Yeah, I could see a lot of that coming through with the story. I noticed, like, there's the looking back on it. The way I sort of felt when it was reading it was just kind of, is like a journal that the guy was keeping, and these were just excerpts.
That's exactly what it was supposed to be.
And
Exactly.
it's kind of like you just posted it online or something, you know?
Yeah, I noticed that it read very much like a diary, in that the protagonist never refers to himself really in the first person other than, you know, I and me.
I gotta say, I
Yup.
love that format.
That's exactly it. And a key thing too I did was I didn't, because it would have been so excruciating long if I did everything that I dreamed of doing with it. All these ideas I had, I wrote them down, but I never really fleshed them out. Because if I had, oh man, the story, I could have made it so long. It could easily, with me, I could rival Fall Equestrian length. I could if I wanted to. With it.
It wouldn't
But
be
I
that
chose not to.
difficult given the
Let me
subject
keep
matter.
it shorter. No, because I had a lot of really interesting ideas. I still have ideas for it, or things I could add, and I just can't do it. I just think that it's what it is what it is. It shouldn't, nothing more should be added. So that's why. And people always ask me doing sequels. Say no, I'm not.
I have seen some sort of fan-made sequels of it. I think one actually gave it a name, like the main character. What did you think of that?
Oh jeez.
Not canon. Not canon.
It's
People
not
writing
canon.
fanfics of fanfics.
But oh my. But oh man, I'll tell you what. People troll me constantly. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a musician iBrony Lulz.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me and him are good friends. He trolls me constantly, calling me Brian.
You should give us contacts with them so we can have them on here.
Wink.
I
Wink,
will have
wink.
to do that.
Nudge, nudge.
Nudge, nudge.
I've been
Bring the
obsessing.
lulz
I've been
to us.
actually. I've been obsessing over his song about your fanfic, the Dashie song that he did.
Yeah, I watched him. I watched him making that. He was actually going over it with me as he was making it. It was really neat.
Yeah,
Not,
I've actually been trying to memorize it this past week, just for the fun of it.
that's all right. I've got his bit from Breaking Bond stuck in my head.
Oh, God. And the Philly Cannon or whatever.
Oh, that.
Oh man,
Um,
making the Swagberg one.
yeah, we're actually.
We are equestrian. Because I'm in his live streams constantly, and he worked on that song for months, and all the time, just equestrian. I was so
yeah.
glad when he finally finished that song.
Even just you saying that, it just burrows into your skull.
Yeah. It's like you close your eyes at night and it just follows you.
I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight,
Yeah.
thanks.
It's just this ambient sound in your head, just always there. What was I? We're actually doing our own Pony Swag little mix. If we can get I think Phony and Cherry to finish their parts,
Grrr.
Oh, cool.
that'll be funny.
I'm
We
going
hope
over
to
to
have
Phony's
that up
house
by the end
after
of the
this,
week.
and I'm pushing him. He's finishing today.
Today. Oh,
Today.
I'll throw it into the mix. I'll just toss it in.
He's finishing it today and recording by no later than tomorrow.
Did you ever expect to gain such recognition from writing that story or fanfic?
Oh God, no, never. I mean, when I first posted it, I took it down a half an hour later because I thought it was stupid, and then I got yelled at by people. They're telling me to put it back because they wanted to comment on it. I thought it was at the time. I thought after I wrote it, I'm like, well, this is kind of dumb. People aren't gonna like it, so I was just like, forget it. And took it down. But holy crap! Like it spread so fast.
And it really has
Like,
gotten
I'm
to...
still getting
It's gotten
comments on it.
cupcakes tier, man. This is...
Oh, further than
these
that.
are
Wait,
one of
can
the-
we not
one-
compare these two fics?
I'm only
Cupcake, as a
talking about
Dashie
in
fan,
terms
And
of
you know,
Cupcakes hits home
that's-
for me.
permeability. It's
That's kinda funny.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you bring that up. A lot of people tell me how Little Dashie and Cupcakes are similar in the fact that what they've done and how big they are in the community, but yet how they contrast from one another.
They
I can
they're
just
really
say that
to me they
reading My Little Dashie and then reading Cupcakes is just a very awkward experience.
I've done it. I feel like they're really just polar opposites. One being I mean, while they're very opposite, now that you mention that, I can see them being very targeting emotions in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah, my
really
Little Dashie reads a lot like
it's a
how would
tearjerker.
you feel scenario.
Oh
Like,
gosh.
you're put so firmly into the shoes of the protagonist that you really start to think about how you would feel in this scenario. And Cupcakes is basically written surely with the intention of
Making you
smacking
pee your
right
pants.
off.
Well, they both get liquids
It's either
coming from
built
you.
to scare you or piss you off. That's the only two ways that you can handle Cupcakes.
Like I said, they get the fluids coming from you.
Yeah.
It's a bad joke.
I don't know if I like the way you phrased that.
Yeah. So,
I
have
know what you meant, but I don't know what you meant.
Lol. So, Rob, have you read any other fanfics that you really enjoyed? Any other favorites in the community?
You know, I haven't read a lot lately. Roughly right after my Dashie, a lot of stuff came up in my life, and I've just been busy as all hell, and I haven't been able to get a lot of reading or other things done. I read on and off, but not as much as I'd like to. But I know before Dashie, oh man, I read a lot of fics. I have several I still hold very close. Like, probably my absolute favorite is Creeping Darkness by Penstroke. It's one of my favorite fanfics. It got me into Alan Wake. I love Alan Wake video game. It's my favorite video game now. And that is until episode 3 of Half-Life comes out. Then Half-Life will return to its mantle. But
I remember having a conversation with you a while back where you were just like, "Don't mention that." I mentioned it. You just shut me down. That was a priceless moment.
oh yeah.
Limitless. Do you
Yeah,
want to take
people do that. I know.
next question or?
We can soldier on. We're making good progress.
All right.
So,
Your story was made into a paperback. What are your thoughts on that?
It was stunning, shocking, and then what was once more was the guy that did it sent me a copy of it, so I have one, and I love it.
snazzy.
I have it on my bookshelf.
Oh, I'd certainly.
I was just.
I'd certainly love to get a personal copy, but
oh,
Same.
it was it's pretty neat. I like it.
I won't be happy until I get a full-on 3-volume hardback edition of Fallout Equestria myself.
Oh, I know. I'm listening to audiobooks, so like
Yeah.
I'm on my 4th or 5th time listening through them. But I just found out chapter 23 got released, so I got to listen to the last couple ones to get myself caught back up. Remember what's happening to listen to the newest one.
like Freeman's Mind.
Oh, I love Freeman's Mind.
I haven't met
That's another
someone.
great one.
I haven't met someone who's seen it who doesn't love it. So let's see. Well, besides My Little Dashie, you've done a few other works. Care to tell us about any of those?
Sure. I have done. I've done a couple fanfics in another fandom, the VG Cats fandom, which was my first fandom, my first fanfiction stuff. It was the fic was rough. It was called Brotherly Love. Was my long one. It was rough. It OC because I was learning, blah blah blah. But it was the story itself was well received and by everyone. They said though with its flaws, the grammar, how it was written stuff, the story was genuine and they enjoyed it. They were things I didn't. They were surprised I did because I didn't go by the normal cliche stuff. I did other things. So I figured, okay, so I might have something going on here. And then when I got into MLP, I'm like, well, this is pretty much how I have this. I already know what I'm going to be doing. So I tried to think of what kind of fanfic I would do.
And my first MLP fanfic I did and I'm still doing is one called Divergent Days, because I was trying to decide what kind of fic I wanted to start writing, and I noticed at one point early on I wanted.
So where were you, Alex?
Oh yeah, I was my first MLP fanfic. I was noticing, I was talking about how everyone was doing human Equestria fics, but everyone was making them bronies. So I'm like, well, what happened? I want to put just a regular person, not a non-brony, doesn't know anything about MLP, into the world, see what happens. So that's what I did, and I came up with a backstory for him, how has a troubled past, stuff going on, and basically where he's secluded himself back here on Earth, and now these ponies are trying to force the friendship stuff on him, trying to be talkative and stuff, and he's not accepting it, or having a hard time accepting it and such. So it's going along. I'm roughly halfway through it, but because of stuff, just real life stuff going on, I've been very lacking in writing. And I have multiple other fics lined up to work. I'm working on too. So,
did we ask what you feel most comfortable writing about?
No, but what I feel most comfortable writing about, I don't know. I write about a lot of different things. Like, I wrote MLD, which is a sad fic. I have my Divergent Days, which is a human Equestria, sort of not sad, but it's kind of a semi-sad fic because the guy's history. I'm writing a comedy derpy fanfic. I have a Doctor Who's fanfic I'm working on that is loosely comedy, but it's kind of just
Doctor Who's.
It's Doctor Who's, so it's expect wackiness. And then I've got a very, very, very dark Celestia fic I'm working on.
Ooh. Forward me a copy of that.
No, you want the Molestia one, but
I haven't read that one yet.
So what can we expect from you in the future? But you probably just answered that.
I kind of answered that, but I want to write a few more fanfics. I'm hoping I can start getting more time to sit down and actually do it. I want to write more fanfics, and then I want to actually start doing some of my own works. And I have one that I've been working on the ideas and stuff for a year now. And I want it to be my one original story that I eventually do.
Well, I can say with all certainty that we're all looking forward to more work from you, because clearly you can write.
Well, I like to think I can, but I'm trying. I'm learning. I'm not the greatest writer in the world, but I'm learning.
Well, how long have you been writing? Is it an old talent or just a newfound passion?
I've been writing stories since 5th grade. When we had to do a project, we had to write a story, and I went overkill and I wrote 3 stories.
All my teachers hate me when I do
that's
that.
Firmly under old talent. It's like, you're not supposed to enjoy the assignment?
My teacher...
It means I have to readjust the entire curriculum.
My teacher gives me a word count limit.
Well, and see, I also not one-upped them, but I, at the time, was trolling them because it was in the early days of computers. Like, everyone was running Windows 98, and we had to do... They want us to be... Our things to be always being typed, because being young, our handwriting was... It was terrible. But the problem is, my Windows 95 computer I didn't have a printer at the time. So, I had typewriter. I've always had typewriters. So I used typewriter. And that's how I wrote all my stuff. And my teachers would hate it. Like, I actually got in trouble in 8th grade because an assignment I used a typewriter. Like, I got docked down for it. I'm like, but it's type. You didn't say how to type it. You just said type. So...
I sure wish I had a typewriter sitting around. I'd clickety-clack all day. I wouldn't even write
Something
anything.
about
I
the
just
tactile sensation about using a typewriter, and you're feeling the weight that your fingers need to press down on the keys with to hear the thwack.
Yep.
I would just write gibberish on it all day. I wouldn't even.
Oh, I still use them because my handwriting is still pretty bad.
oh, so is mine.
Like, cause so I actually when I write letters, do stuff, I type. And I still use a typewriter, so I got dozens of them.
Hello, cat. Goodbye. If you're going to describe one of your fan fictions to someone who had never seen the show before, how would you go about that?
Describe one of my fanfics?
Yes.
They're about Technicolor ponies and friendship. I mean, what's not to love? What's not to love? Technicolor ponies and friendship, and tramp stamp tattoos on their asses.
I read that question last night when I was revising this Q&A list, and I thought about it for about 5 seconds. I was like, man finds cartoon character in box, keeps character, raises as daughter, is very sad when she has to go. you didn't need to watch a single episode, even a single second of Ponies to get that.
And that's why I approached it that way. Now several projects have been brought up to bring My Little Dashie to a different format. So for this question, let's go with the movie that has been posted around. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, well, which one? I know of like 3 or 4 going on.
Well, just the one that pisses you off the most.
What are your thoughts?
None of them piss me off.
What are your thoughts on The Matter? How's that? Just
I'm baffled that some people are taking their time to do this over one of a fic that I wrote. I mean, I'm overcome. It's amazing. I'm very touched that my work is being chosen by all these people to do this. I mean, sure, maybe I'm just naive and I haven't been seeing the stuff, but I don't see these kind of things with all these the big ones like Fallout Equestria. There's quite a bit of fan art. There's more fan art Fallout Equestria than My Little Dashie.
Sure.
But when it comes to like these movies and other things like this, I haven't seen anything else for along those lines, and it baffles me.
That's why I think it's really impressive. But with that said, many movies based off of novels or fiction end up taking several liberties due to different reasons. Is there anything you would not want to see added or removed from your story besides obvious plot points?
Points.
The biggest, well, there's certain things you have to do when you're transferring something like the story to a movie. And the obvious one, which is the one I hate, is they're probably going to have to give a guy a name.
Yeah.
And my main point for doing it, I didn't want to give him a name because I wanted people to read it differently. Because I kind of know how when I read stories, I read them differently. Some people have different ways they write. They write them so that you're in their shoes. Or it's like you were a ghost with them watching what they're doing. And I wrote this story, I was hoping that people could experience it in multiple ways. And from what I've seen, they have. Some people put themselves in his shoes. They think they're reading like it was them there. Or some people read it as he was another guy. Some people think it's me, but it's not.
I certainly got a self-insertion vibe as I read it. It certainly seemed there was a bit of Gordon Freeman-esque tinge to it, where it's in as much as you're experiencing the story, you're also kind of living it, just because of all the personal pronouns used.
Yeah.
And another thing I can see happening a lot with movies and such is overall throughout your entire story there are only 2 lead roles besides the ending, of course. So how do you see them handling that?
What do you mean by two main roles? You mean characters?
Yes.
So Dashie the guy. Well, there's a couple different things that they could do. But that also stems on them borrowing other ideas or coming up with other things, inserting, having just having random people be in there, involved somehow. Maybe when the guy's at work and there's people there, there's stuff like that they could do. But really, it's something that offhand I don't know how they'd get around, because that's gonna be a challenge. Is you have to keep the story focused around these two people, which is, it's done in movies also.
Hmm.
What kind of comes to mind for me is like I Am Legend, but instead of the dog, it's just Dashie.
Yeah, something similar to that. But to which then that they're gonna have to make sure they drive, when they do their scenes, they dive into ideas, not only the ones I put in the story, but they're gonna need to use other examples that fans had written. Like, I know there's several fan pieces people had written that would work as great inserts, like the Dashie's first bath. There's a couple other ones where just like different random things. Like one is where about the guy gets Dash a pair of goggles for when she flies, and they're all great. And they're gonna need to expand it. They're gonna need to expand my story more to make it more so you can captivating, because you're not going off. You can't use the words like you could in a story. Everything's visual. So you have to give more examples of them bonding than I did in the story written form.
Very true. Like montages, etc. Just having Dash grow. So,
yes.
What do you think of us, iBrony Radio? Would you give us 5 stars? Would you? Just kind of finishing it up here.
I've never listened to you guys, so I don't know. You guys seem pretty cool.
That's okay. We haven't listened to us either. I kid.
Yeah, so far you guys are all right. It's you guys, you're trying, so.
We're trying pretty hard. iBrony is the site that we sort of run all this off of. Sort of a Facebook, but for pony fans. While you're here, do you want to join us?
Geez, I barely even use my Facebook.
I don't even use my Facebook.
I don't use
my
Facebook,
that I have iBrony,
but I use my
Facebook.
iBrony.
I just don't use social media sites much at all to begin with.
It's alright.
The only reason I got a Facebook was because a friend of mine moved. So that was the only reason I ever got one. But then he came back, so I just stopped using it.
I can certainly understand that. So we've basically just ran out of our questions. We spent a full hour almost.
I'm surprised we actually
doing this.
We actually killed them all.
So right now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a music break, and then after that we will take questions submitted by the chat. If you're not connected to the iBrony Radio chat, it's you can find it at iBrony.com under the Listen tab. So.
Yep, Phony will be taking your questions, so keep submitting them.
Hooves Derpy asks, I saw this pic for a poster for an MLD movie. Is it true that there's going to be a movie? We've kind of already answered this, but
yes, there are. I can go about this, I guess. There are several MLD movies that people are making. Some that are full animation, some that are using actual film with 2D, and just using 3D. And there's that's really it. I know several. I can't really think off the top of my head like what ones are what. I know there's a real life 2D one that's very popular. Like a lot of people are getting behind it, helping it out. I also know there's a fully animated one that a lot of people are getting behind. Now I will say though is that some of them didn't ask my permission, which I wouldn't deny anyway. I tell everyone I don't care, go for it. But I don't really fully endorse, or I'm not really fully behind any of them, because I don't want people thinking that, oh, well, if he's behind this one, then that means the other ones aren't going to be as good and not going to matter.
Well, that's not true at all. I like the idea of having different varying views and such with it. So it's not that I'm trying to choose one, but I'm not.
And next thing is someone's been asking all about the radio, and iBrony Radio came to be because Limitless wanted a radio station, and we thought we could have live shows on it.
That's pretty much it. We've been running for something on the order of 2 months now. But yeah, we're just now starting to get our eggs in one basket and produce legitimate content for all you fine ponies. And we love that you're enjoying it, and it pushes us to work much, much harder to bring you the best possible content we can.
We do our best.
Scooby-Doo asks, cake or pie?
Me? Cake.
Yes. Of course it's to you, silly.
You said cake.
Cake. All the cake. Nothing but the
good thing
cake. Don't want me
so much
cake.
We can't have any of them pie aficionados on our show.
Okay. Have you read the story Scorched, and what is your opinion of it if you have?
Scorched? I can't see I have read that. And so my opinion is it's probably not that good then. I'm kidding. No.
This guy's a pretty huge fan of it. You're gonna offend someone.
Oh no, look out, I'm gonna offend someone. Because it's bad if you offend people on the internet. Oh no.
Oh no.
Ah!
This can't be happening. Not on my radio. Okay. CeeBee.
But no.
All
I'll
right.
have to look it up.
This is one I personally wanted to read. Zero asks, do you ever read the story yourself and just cry to yourself?
I'm not gonna lie. I've only read my fic once, and that was after I wrote it. And I don't know if it was that I was so happy to finally be done with it so I could sleep, but I did get teary-eyed at the end. I don't know if it was the story itself or just the fact that I was so glad to be done so I could sleep. So,
Crazy sleepless tears.
yeah.
To the people in the chat, please keep questions aimed at our guest. You won't be here for too long.
Yeah,
I'd
they're
be
gonna lock
happy
me
to
back in the
answer
basement
any of your
again.
questions after the show.
Phony, Sorn, or Spitfire? That is my question. Asked by Laru. Or Leru, or whatever, how you pronounce that.
What?
Phony, Sorn, or Spitfire?
Someone, Sorn, or Spitfire? I
Phony.
heard. Who's phony?
One of the staff members. He's in the chat.
Wait, we were talking about the ponies themselves? Which one? Or what?
I don't know.
Okay,
That is the question.
I'm gonna say Spitfire because Spitfire is awesome.
There's your
And
answer.
that Swedish accent.
Sorry, phony.
And Phony should be getting on these questions. Scooby-Doo asks, maybe write this down, I don't know. I just searched my little Dashie at femfiction.net. All that came up with was pages and pages of stories about Squeals and Dashie back in Equestria and other stuff. Sequels, sorry, not Squeals.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about it, and do those people ever contact you asking for permission when posting things like that? What do you say to them?
I don't really know how to react to the sequels because I'm a bad person and I've only read like one of them. And but whenever people ask, I always tell them yes. I highly encourage it because a lot of people, they're starting to write fiction and a sequel of my fic is their first work. And it's going to be rough, but it's how they learn. And I'm honored that they're trying to actually take the time to learn writing off of something that I had started. So I never deny it. I always appreciate it. Of course, I always make sure to let them know that it's not official because there is no official sequel. I have the one I like because it's the one I read, but there are no officials to it.
Hmm. Um. Did anyone ask why you chose Rainbow Dash as the filly?
Honestly, because of the comic. That's really the only reason. Because Rainbow Dash, before MLD, was my second least favorite, and now after MLD, she's my most least favorite.
Ouch.
I'm a terrible person. I write a fanfic. I write a fanfic that everyone loves about a character that I don't care for.
Ow.
Phony didn't give me any more questions than that. So I'm opening
check
the
the chat.
I'm opening the chat now. So just spam us with your most amazing questions.
Oh, you shouldn't say spam. Good luck with that one.
Oh, trust me, you haven't seen me spam. CeeBee, you should be cringing after hearing that. How do you feel about the disturbingly beautiful stuff?
The what?
I don't know. How do you feel about the disturbingly beautiful stuff?
That's like with the disturbing or the beautiful?
I don't know.
Because I love all the beautiful stuff. The disturbing stuff.
It's so beautiful, it's disturbing.
I don't know. I guess if it's good, then okay.
I think that's
like I know
disturbing.
well, some people think anything to do with MLP is disturbing anymore, so it could be anything.
What are your thoughts on the sea ponies?
Call upon the sea pony, shoo shoo shoo, shoo shoo be doo.
Excellent.
And those are your thoughts.
Yeah, that's
No, it's also a ringtone on my phone. That's a ringtone on my phone.
I can think of worse.
Because
Yep. Where do you get these?
Would you care to visit iBrony? Asked by Zero.
well, if it would load, sure, but it's not loading. I've gone to like 5 different websites which all redirect to it, and none of them work. So I guess I can't. I'm sorry.
We're sort of a lot of people's backup. Whenever iBrony goes down, they go to iBrony Radio. They just replace the .com. I mean the iBrony.com and just add radio before the .com. They love us.
We love iBrony, flaws and all.
Sadly.
It not loading means it is working as intended.
Here's a random question. Why do you think iBrony's down?
Because the internet gods have frowned upon you.
So 4chan.
Of course, 4chan frowns upon most all anything pony. So, yeah.
Well, what is your opinion on Zap apples?
I want to try one.
They
Who
sound
doesn't?
deliciously dangerous.
Dangerously cheesy.
I don't know, just the name makes it sound like I'd be eating an electrical socket.
Well, I guess we could try. Let's all stick our tongues into outlets, see what happens.
Trust me on this one, you
Jingling.
won't like the experience.
So we've got most the questions that way. One more. Why is it bad luck to open an umbrella indoors? Asked by Hoof Derpy.
Because if the roof falls down, ain't gonna help you none.
And you won't see it coming.
That too.
Oh, that's nice. So right now, we've pretty much exhausted them because they don't seem to be saying much. So from here on out, we're basically just gonna be doing our regular live show. You can stay or you can go if you want.
We'd be happy to keep you around as a guest host. I think that would be fun.
Okay.
But if you've got better things to do, then we certainly wouldn't blame you or try and hold you here against your will. Can I
I've always got.
if that's all right with you.
I've always got better things to do, but I never do them.
So, we're also going to be sort of premiering a song that I made pretty soon. So, whenever we get to that.
You want me to spin that one next?
If you want, it's a sort of a dubstep to Obsolete 2010. I think it's Mike the Microphone and I Bring the Lulls.
Oh, Lolsy. Oh yeah, you guys wanted his Skype, didn't you?
Yes,
That would
actually.
be fantastic.
I'll get that for you. I'll get you his.
And while he gives that to us, Limitless, do you want to start up the song?